brother.
Yeah,
My brother.
safe,
Brother.
safe.
Yes, sir. So yeah, finally we get to chop it up
Yeah, man.
after so many years.
So for real,
It's crazy though.
crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. So
Nah, fly show.
welcome to the TEx Podcast, the Experience Podcast.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Teck-Zilla. I'm my second. You are the second Canadian I'm bringing on the show.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah. So yeah, like just let's start from the beginning. Let's introduce. Give us like a brief intro.
So my name is Taigenz. Born and raised in Montreal. But of Cameroon origin. Rep that proudly. Rep that very proudly. In a nutshell, it's that I've been doing this music thing for quite a minute now. I tell people I've been doing it longer than I haven't, since I was a kid, performing and recording and things like that. And just overall just trying to, develop this thing and get to new heights every time, take it to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can see the growth. I mean, I can remember from back in the day when you started.
Back in the day. Yeah.
That's how I call it. Like you didn't start 2 years ago. You're a veteran in a way.
Yeah. In a way, yeah, it's true. A rookie in a way, a veteran in other ways, it's true because, depending on where I go, things can adjust, but obviously there's definitely, this experience that I've collected over the years. And one thing about experience is that the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, right?
Facts. That's how it is. Because you keep it every day,
Exactly.
You never stop. But yeah, so tell me, like growing up, like I was up in a Cameroonian family in Montreal.
Yo, like I'm from like quote unquote a typical African family, right? You know that type of thing where when you go outside, you're dealing with North America. But when you go inside, it's Cameroon. You know what I mean? Like you maneuver in two universes at the same time every day.
Yep.
True. Every day from when you're born. Born, you know what I'm saying? So it's dope in a way because obviously you stay connected to where you're from.
Your roots, yeah.
Stay connected to where you're from, Some people don't have that privilege sometimes. But me, growing up, yeah, it was typical African family, typical, there's certain codes that you gotta live by. There's certain, there's a way that our family and our parents and our culture like raise children, and in a certain sense of community that, even though they came here to North America, they still maintained,
Yeah, true.
So there's that, but then also when you go outside, you got to deal with other people that deal with things differently. You got people that move differently, so you always have to make that adjustment growing up, and then you become just an individual that's like just aware, aware of different elements around you.
True. So yeah, how did you even get into music? Like, is it your parents to play music around the house, or like how was it? Like, how did you get influenced?
To be honest, obviously, like I had a love for music. I would play music at home. Yeah, my parents would play, especially that's those Sunday morning. Sunday morning, your mom wakes up, she's playing either church music or traditional Cameroonian music, or like things like that. You just it's when you hear that, you associate like, oh, it's time to clean. But
yeah,
in general, they obviously there's always been an appreciation for music. Me specifically, it wasn't like, I don't know, I guess for me the way I had an appreciation for was much more to another level. Like my family overall like loves music for sure, but like just more on the consumption side, just like music around, just listen to music, whatever, but in the household, like I was one, for some reason I was more drawn to the certain element of creativity with it that I wanted to explore since I was very young. That like it wasn't like they told me I should start writing, I should start doing, like if anything, the ways of our culture is that we appreciate music, but not when it's our kid trying to do it.
Yeah. Fact.
You know, because there's a stigma, or just the idea of like, just
Yeah.
how can you, you know what I'm saying, go do the engineer, go be the doctor, go be a lawyer, the 4 or 5. In Africa, there's only 4 or 5 careers that ever exist, right?
Engineer, lawyer,
doctor, engineer, lawyer, politician, I guess, if you want to push it.
Yeah, I think, but those 3 are the main ones. Those 3.
Yeah, those 3 are the main ones. Yeah. Those 3, that's the holy trinity, So
yeah,
that's wild. So, but for me, it was really, it was something I just couldn't shake. Couldn't shake, and also it just helped me as a kid. It helped me a lot when I learned I could write, and I learned I could spit bars, whatever. I started working on it. I was really young, and it helped me. It helped me figure out where I could stand out.
Yeah.
Stand out, get respect, and then just find some kind of a internal self-esteem boost.
Okay, gotcha.
You know?
That makes sense. It's like a form of expression, because I mean, growing up in an African family, I mean, you can only express yourself in the house. So
you can only express yourself. Exactly.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's crazy though. That's crazy. Oh wow. And so yeah, when I the first time I heard you was like the first. I don't know. I think I might have heard about you because I used to live in Montreal.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember, because I tend to meet like a lot of people.
For sure.
Artists roaming around in that space, because it's a very small space anyway.
Yeah.
Small space, but sometimes you lose track of who you are, because something is happening, life is happening.
Yeah.
But like the first time I consciously heard about you was when you did the song on my beat.
Yeah.
I confess.
Yes. Before, like, and that's funny because I found that online.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it, immediately worked on it, and then I started linking up with, because your name came from a conversation. I started linking up with Jonathan, Emile, and C.
Yeah.
And then at one point we're talking, and then they're like, "Oh, I could talk to Teck-Zilla." I'm like, "Teck-Zilla? I know that name." They're like, "Yeah, that's my guy." And I'm like, "Wait, hold on. This guy?" And then I pull up, and then like, "Yo, hold on. I wrote a song to his beat." They're like, "Wait, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Yo, I wrote a song to his beat. Like, this is the song." And they're like, "Wait, no, I can't. It's the same guy." And then and then we found each other online. They were like, "Yeah, that's me." Like, it was like, so the music was already made before we even had a first interaction, which was crazy. I thought you're just in the world somewhere, because you know what it is, beat stores and things like that, just going online, and then sometimes you'll work on stuff and you probably never interact with the actual producer, or the producer never interact with the artist, But in this case, I thought it was pretty dope that like immediately so close to home, because these are guys in my city, these are guys I've been cool with, and it's just that was crazy. And then obviously since then, we've been touching base, even all the way up, even recently with the fears going. I was doing the freestyle mix, that you helped me with that, which was to this day like people love that, and then it's you're killing it. But yeah, I think that's crazy, full circle moment.
Yeah, full circle, man. Yeah, it was good to like you said, like being able to reconnect everything.
Yeah.
And then I think the best part is like having a good reputation as well. Just imagine if those guys, if C and Jonathan said like, "Yo, I don't mess with him."
Exactly. It's true. No, for sure, you're absolutely right. But like once like it was established that all of us had some kind of a connection, like we just laughed. We're like, "Oh my god, this is crazy," like, and that says a lot. That means, and that's something I definitely pay attention to, and I think it's very important, especially in this space that we occupy, like reputation. And obviously you can never control how other people see you or feel about you, right? But you can control how you show up. You can control how you show up, and you can control how you move around people. So me, I always try to move with as much integrity as possible, integrity and transparency. And whether it be in the music space, even in the business, even interacting with people with business, like I think a lot of people can get jaded over time if they feel like every time somebody's trying to one up them or have a hidden agenda working with. And I never try to operate like that. Sometimes I even just try to just make connections without, because sometimes you can smell when someone's trying to make a connection because they're just trying to extract things and then they'll go about their way. So I try to avoid. I don't want to think like that, and I don't want to move like that. If I feel like we just have a genuine connection creatively, and we can hit it off, and then eventually, we can help each other in some way, shape, or form, then that's dope. But yeah, no, good. That right there told me that you're a person that you're a solid individual right there. And that's dope. That's really dope. It feels good.
Yeah, that's same. Like the appreciation for them, even talking to me about Jonathan and C. I work with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing live sound behind, a lot of things. So it was, again, full circle moment, coming back and just linking up and making the best out of it. But with you now, like the evolution, like rapping, in Afro beats, like even with the R&B as well. It's like, how did you get to that stage?
I think it was a low-key intentional effort, but I wanted to grow into it over time naturally, like, because since, like, I'll be honest with you, people have been telling me to do Afro, or at least add Afro to my repertoire since maybe 2014, 15, right? Since 2014, 15. Like the song, like I Must Confess, that was like the first attempt as a real single where it's like, okay, it's Afro pop, whatever, But before that, I would still kind of work on it low key, but like, on my end, just really want to understand and I think I was still in a space creatively, because sometimes you have to understand what space you are in creatively. So where I was at that time, the way I wanted to present or show my stuff wasn't necessarily aligned with how things were developing, especially in the Afro world and the music stuff. So some people would just say it doesn't matter, just switch it up. I'm like, I get it. But I want to also feel I want to have a certain level of comfortable. Or even if I don't have a certain level of comfort, I want to be able to execute in the way that somebody else hears it and feels like, yo, sounds so natural. Because sometimes sometimes when you hear artists try just pivot a certain way, and sometimes it's like they're not convinced that they can do it, or they don't at least they don't convince the listener that they could do it. Because sometimes you could fake it till you make it, obviously, but it's all about execution. So. But for me, I was telling people, I'm like, yo, it's coming. Let me just continue working at it and feeling more at ease. And also, I needed to be more even. I needed to tap in more into my culture too, just in general. I felt like by doing that, and that's when like things worked out in the sense where for example, when I dropped I Must Confess, we shot the video, everything. This was shortly after my trip to Cameroon, so my trip to Cameroon right there was a perfect
like entry point.
It was a perfect entry point to just like resource myself, and now I'm really on the ground. I'm in my ancestral areas. I'm in my mom's village, my dad's village, my cousins, my family over there, and just really immerse myself. And because that was the first time I went as an adult. Last time I went, I was a kid, right? So it's not the same thing. When you go, you're following your parents and you're following your family wherever. But for me, this was okay. Now I can really see, and I tapped in with artists over there, just seeing how they move, how they think. Now I was like, this is now subconsciously was like, okay, now I'm getting into it, and then over time, you just keep developing and get better. So now at this point, it feels like somebody hears it, they're like, yeah, natural, like it. This is a type of Taigenz track. This is without obviously leaving like. I tell people I am from the school of boom bap, school of gangsta hip hop, school of all that. But once again, it goes back to just working with the two universes.
Yeah, true. Because you can easily, with the way you put it, like it's you didn't force anything. You took your time, you built, because I can tell the difference between like from when you did I Must Confess to the new ones. Yeah. You can tell like the growth, like the vibe, the energy, and like the infusion of the pidgin English as well.
Yeah. I had to brush up on my pigeon. I had to brush up on my pigeon, you know.
you know, and also like how you translate it to making content for people. Like I check everything out.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. No, you're right. You're right. Sometimes I don't realize at this point. Sometimes when I do it, it's just, you know.
Yeah, because it's something I can relate to as a West African as well.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I can relate to all those things. Like when it comes to the accents, like all those nuances, like you'd be like, okay, like I understand. Like I not. I mean, others could understand like from a different perspective.
For sure.
In terms of like being, how do I call it? From if you're not like, how do I call it? Like if you're from like a different place, you have like a different reaction.
Yeah.
But like West Africans, like it's a different connection with the people. You can be like, okay, yeah, I get it. You know. So that's another aspect that I just wanted to touch on. You know, like the songs like, you know, Wonderful.
Yeah.
Like the way you put it, even I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I like this one, the one you did with Nueva Vista.
Bunny.
Yeah. So like
Bunny. Yeah, like that example is like. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just pointing out. Like, no, go ahead. I just pointed it out.
No, I was saying like Bunny is a perfect example of fusing. Yeah, like there's a Latin element to it. There's like Latino element mixed with the Afro swing, you know, because I'm a big fan of one thing about me, and I think Afro swing is like the perfect fusion of finding a mood of like the core hip hop era that I come from, but still having the bounce of our culture, you know. So that's what I want to try with Bunny, and like Bunny means stop in my dialect.
Okay. Gotcha.
Limbum. So my family, we speak Limbum, the same tribe as Taiki. I tell people Taiki is the most famous person from our tribe. Yeah, by way of his mom. So his mom is from the English side of Cameroon, and she's of our tribe. So like Taiki speaks our dialect. Like in certain songs, he's singing in it. You know, so it's dope to hear. And Bunny means it means stop. And you know, Noa Vista, I told him, I'm like, yo, I need you. Yeah, he produced Wonderful, right? So I'm like, okay, we gotta do one more, but I need you. I need your voice. I need your voice. He's like, all right, safe. You know, say less. And it was a dope marriage of like, you know, I'm spinning in a bit of pidgin, then I'm bringing a bit of dialect, and then you hear Spanish, you know, and it was dope. It was a really dope fusion. Like I'm really glad how we executed that for real.
Yeah. So tell me. I mean, the project like Chop Life. Like the concept, like you pretty much took it from just being an album to being like a movement. You know, like Chop Life. You understand? Like
I hear you. Yeah.
Wait,
like, you know, like like obviously we're from. We understand the expression of. We've been hearing that expression forever, right? Forever. I tell people, I'm like, yo, I didn't invent this. This is not. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm just adding to it if I can, you know, contributing to that state of mind, that thought. And it also worked out because I was kind of going through like a series of projects with life concepts, you know, like life ain't free, life for life, and then Chop Life. So I think it was a dope way to continue it. But I tell people, I'm like, yo, Chop Life literally take a bite out of life, but also at the same time we know Chop Life because this life will chop you. Straight you know, we know it, and where we're from, we know at any given moment. That's, you know, we're born with that, you know, that thought of mind of, you know. So enjoy. That's why when we enjoy, because when shit gets tough, it gets tough, and then what can you do? You can only go forward. You have to go through it. You have to go through it to get to it. So I think, especially here in Montreal and everything, I think it was really outside of the African community, like the people that probably never heard that expression, but they understand, like, you know, take a bite out of life, and then automatically like, oh, I get it. Yeah, Chop Life. I like that. Yeah. And then I tell them, you know, but the full phrase is Chop Life before this life chops you. They're like, that is so dope. I'm like, yeah, that's you know.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, that was a good way of breaking it down as well. Like,
Hmm.
like how you linked it to different things, and also like I've always wondered, like, um, product of Montreal. Like,
Hmm.
what's the concept? You need to tell me. Like, I've been
That was cool.
people like, yeah,
So basically, yeah, Montreal is also my own. It's my own denomination of the city of Montreal. Well, it's twofold. There's just calling Montreal that same way because why I stuck with Montreal. Number one, I hated since I was a kid. I realized I didn't like the term real city. I don't know if you ever heard real city because that's how we used to call Montreal. Like especially growing up, like that was like the street way of main cities. All the main Atlanta's ATL,
LA.
NY, BK. Brooklyn, Toronto. They had T dot now the six. Thanks to Drake. But in Montreal, since I was really young, it's a '90s thing. The OGs, they were calling it real city, and it never. I'm like. Like I was going through it, whatever. I was pushing that too, just off the strength of just being in the mix. But then I'm like, yo, nah, man. And Montreal, I didn't even invent it. It was another rapper from my area, C's Rock. That's the first person I ever heard him mention call the city like that. Yo, I'm in Montreal now, and I liked it. I'm like, you see, that's dope. That's fly. That's fly as hell. And then I wanted to add the second layer of the concept of a money tree, where it's like the city what was the explanation? Like the city is we're all connected in the city. People we're all of different roots, but we all grow in the same city as the tree, right? And then a tree has branches. So it's the idea of like money growing on trees, where if it's ideas, if we're all growing together and then people have ideas to try and execute and develop, and with that will come the fruits. So it could be money, it could be success, could be whatever it is. So that's another way of looking at it. That's like my equivalent of the marathon continues, with Nipsey and everything. My equivalent of like just keep placing roots, and then keep placing seeds. Is gonna grow. The roots are gonna grow because we're all sharing the same ground. But we all gotta grow and develop.
Yeah, facts, man, facts. I like the way you put that as well. Like finally, like yeah, because anytime I see it, I always see the tree with
I get it.
bag.
Yeah, with the money bag. Yeah.
So well, like I never did think deeply enough to yeah, you understand, to really get that perspective.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No. So, and that product of Montreal, I'm a product of it. As simple as that.
Simple, yeah, got you. That's dope. So tell me, what's the next step for you now? You're still pushing the chop life.
I'm still, for sure. I put in a lot of time and effort in that project, so I really want to give it the push it deserves. But I have been working since late last year and then early, so working on a lot of demos. A lot of demos, and just staying creatively, doing my best to stay creatively active.
And you've been performing as well.
I've been performing. Yeah, I've been performing. I got. It's getting warm, so there's traveling on the way, which I'm looking forward to, and just expose myself to different markets. It's always dope to bring what you have outside to people that really don't know you, especially in a different city or maybe different country, and just seeing how your quality really measures up. I think that's a really dope litmus test, because it's one thing in your city. When you're in your city, it's one thing, there's a certain level of bias you can't get around, because people know you maybe not from other ways, or they put you in a certain sphere. But when you're in a completely different city, where all they expect from you is quality, and then you put them you show them what you have, and then you see their reaction. That's like, there's nothing, like, you can't beat that. You really can't beat that.
True.
So yeah, no, working on stuff, continue active. I have there's a way I want to present myself in the months to come, or even next year, just like the music I'm working on. But I'm still keeping myself open, still pushing for Chop Life, and getting that to as many ears as possible.
Dope, man. That's the way. Like usually when I talk to people, like I just try to find out, like, find out the past, the present, and the future.
Mm.
Try and link everything, and
Yeah.
also how we connect as well.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, and also, and I think one of the main things is just for you to tell your story.
Yeah.
People will understand where
You're
you're
right.
at the end of the day. So
You're right. Like
I'm doing.
I'm in a space where for sure I want to work. One thing about me creatively, I want to. People say I'm good at storytelling in terms of the writing, and I just want to keep developing that because that's one thing I think, especially from us who are from our culture, we love. Africans, we love stories.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
love stories. We love. There's always that uncle that has a story. Especially if he had a few to drink, and then now he's just going. There's always that one uncle. Maybe when we were kids, sitting in the living room, that where everybody else, our other aunties like, oh, here we go. There's always that one uncle when he gets going, but we love it. And then now, now we're in position where if it means now I'm an uncle to nieces and nephews, where I'm getting to a point where I'm telling them stories and like, oh, again, I'm like, the cycle continues. But it's dope. You can't escape it. You can't escape it.
Like,
I want to bring that more into my songwriting of just like telling the stories I want to tell. There's stories that are like, it's not all just colorful. There's real stuff that we've been through, and there's stuff that I know people have been through that I want to touch on, and I think that just comes with growth. And at the same time, still work on just getting the people lit, the party lit when it's time to get the party lit. But then also we like our stories, but we like our medicine in our stories. Us, sometimes with some of the, us, we could have a look at, for example, Premier Gaou,
yeah.
Magic System. That's one of the worst heartbreaks he's ever been through. But
When I found out,
we've been for the last 20 years, we've been dancing our life away to that song. How many Fela Kuti songs where he's a perfect example. He's giving you real stuff, but dancing,
Yeah.
So I think that's something I want to just continue developing and contributing, because that's really stories is what connects all of us, to be honest. And then we could I think with that, I'll never, like, you can never go dry with content.
Facts, man, facts. Before we go, I want you to touch on the music industry and give like maybe an advice for people coming into the music industry.
Let me say, it's because it's loaded, like advice for somebody who has who wants to get in, that probably has no prior experience or no prior knowledge. Like, I would say keep your ego to a minimum. Keep your ego to a minimum and keep your curiosity to a maximum. Like, try and get as much info as possible, and then sort out. Just try and get info or resources everywhere you can. Because you need to see a lot to then figure out what ends up being quality or what isn't, or what you need, what you don't need. So expose yourself to as much as possible in terms of go. Like, somebody watching this and they'll be like, okay, what is step one? What is actionable? Okay, step one is look for anything happening around you. Look for any events. Look for if it's a networking event, look for it. If it's a show, look for it. But try and don't go as a show goer. Go and find the promoter. And just say, hey, I just want to know who's promoting this. I love this. Just try and shake hands with them. Sometimes I have the thing where you kind of have to move like a politician. Yeah. You got to figure out where it's happening, shake hands, kiss babies, and just introduce yourself. Because eventually, the more places you go, the more times you reintroduce yourself, the more places you go, you're going to bump into same people. Yeah. And they're going to remember you from a last event. And then now it's easier to have conversation. And then now, if you meet more people, you're going to find who knows who, and then you start having mutuals. And then it becomes easier. You'd be like, oh, wait, I know. Oh, yeah, I know so-and-so. And then it's easier to be like, okay, what do you got going on? And then obviously do your best to try and lend a hand whenever possible.
Gotcha.
Or be bold. Like, one thing about me, like, sometimes I went to shows that I wanted to perform at, and I would look for the promoter and be like, yo, can I get on the slot tonight? I'm obviously expecting him to say no.
Yeah.
But it's to him to be like,
You got the nerve.
What? Like you're the I'm like, yeah. And then but you know, obviously in a respectful but bold way, you know. And then you might get rejected. It's cool, but you're like, you know what, it's cool, but how can I get in touch? That way you next time it's happening, you know, I'll be ready. So but don't worry, if anything happens tonight and you need somebody to fill in the don't worry, I got my USB key, just put in the I've done this something I've done.
Wow.
And that's how I got one time I performed in Paris because of that. You know, I just got on the spot and I just so that's something I've done. So be curious, be proactive, because nobody is forcing you to be in the music industry. That's one thing we have to understand. Like nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying, get in the industry. Most times I would assume it's because you want to and you feel like you could add contribution to it, which is cool, but you got to find your space, and to find your space you got to figure out what is happening in the space. So, and these are things that I'm still doing myself. I'm still doing that whenever I leave the city. It's one thing in Montreal, my hometown, but then when I go to other cities, you just these are the basic things. You just repeat them in a different context.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like that's a pretty, how do I call it?
And obviously be nice. Like obviously work at your craft. Like I'm assuming all of this, but I'm assuming that you're if you're an artist, you're nice. Like let's
Always assume that.
let's assume you're nice. Let's assume you have you don't have to be a genius, but you're nice and you know you're working on your craft, you know?
You know. Yeah, that's the way, you know. Because at the end, like the music industry is small, no matter where you go. It might look big, but we run into the same people.
Yeah.
Same people. You know, at the end of the day. So it's how you take, how proactive are you regarding your music, you know, because
exactly
no one's going to sell your music for you than you, regardless if you're signed to a big record label or indie record label. Like it's you are the face of the music.
Yeah.
You push yourself and you be like, oh wow, like I might not even really like his music, but I gotta respect it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I will. That's how it is, and that's what I always tell new artists as well. Like, keep making music, keep pushing yourself, get on stage. You need to always be prepared. Like you, like like USB, ready to go. you're like ready to go anytime.
Ready to go just in case, you know. You never know. It's like when we were teenagers, always having basketball shorts under your jeans or because you never know when it's time to run. So be like, yo, there's open runs. All right, I'm ready. Let's go. You know, I have that same attitude. You know,
that's crazy.
You got to if you don't, like me, my mentality is if I don't move, nothing moves. If I don't move, nothing moves. So I try to keep wherever level I end up being at. If I get signed to a major, whatever, like I'm still gonna maintain. If I don't move, nothing moves. Can't expect someone else to move for you.
Yeah, facts. Because you need to move by yourself. You need to push yourself to that level. Like, that level. But regarding Montreal, though, like, do you collaborate with other Montreal artists? Like, besides the one on those guys on, you know, Chop Life? Like, have you done any like other?
I've done collaborations, but that's one thing I'm pushing myself to more, to be working with more people. You know, I know a lot of people, and there's one thing, you know, as artists that we want to work, but I guess sometimes we just let time pass by, or it's just hard to set up stuff, or, you know, the logistics of it sometimes can be in the way. But I'm trying to, my mental exercise is to get over that. Be like, no, it's easy. Like, let's just, if anything, come to the crib, let's create, let's do that, and then we figure out the rest after. Because I think it's important. So and one thing I started doing is, you know, just telling artists like, yo, I would love to sit in your session, not even to record. I just want to see how you work. Like, I want to see how you work and you know, interchange. I think, like sharing info and perspectives like that has a real positive effect for both, you know. Like, that's why sometimes, like, I don't mind if an artist comes in my session, because maybe there's some they could pick up, or maybe there's some that they could mention, maybe 1-2 comments, and I could be like, yo, that's really interesting. Every time that's happened, it's always been positive. So I'm not the guy who is super, you know, some people are super secretive about their process. Fine, I get it, but for me, I'm like, until I reach a certain level, I still have, like I said, I have a lot to learn, and I'm open to putting myself in the stage where I still need to learn. I could have, you know, wherever the artist is at, like, you know. So I think more collaborations are on the way. Even with those who I've collaborated before, there's more on the way, and then there's more artists that I've been friends with forever. We just haven't had a chance to sit down and do. But I'm definitely putting my foot on that gas as well. You know.
That's dope. That's dope. I like to hear that. I'm all about collaboration. You know?
Yeah.
That'll work. But yeah, thank you for coming through. I know it's like, what time is it over there? It's like 2 p.m.
Just 2:30, almost 2:40.
Yeah, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, because I actually just got off the phone with my mom. She used to live in Montreal because used to live in Montreal, but she moved to Ottawa.
Okay, yeah, same time zone. Yeah, same time. Yeah,
time zone. But it's just my older brother that is still in Montreal.
Okay.
So we like it just go back and forth and everything.
Yeah.
So I do miss the city though. I do miss the city.
Gotta come back, man.
Yeah. I definitely need to come through. And hopefully we'll be able to, link
For
up.
sure. Yeah. For sure. We have to.
So yeah, thanks again for coming through.
Thank you for having me, dog.
Anytime you have like I always say, anytime you have like a new music, anything, just you know how it is.
For sure.
And yeah, I'm keeping tabs as well. Like I like listening to new stuff, like new content. Your funny content as well.
A lot of times it's just I don't think too much. A lot of times I just be whatever comes to mind. If I laugh, like my thing is, if I think of something and I'm laughing at myself, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let me work on that. Sometimes I laugh at myself while I'm doing the editing. I'm like, okay, dude, then that's already success. Yeah. I'm not putting content that I don't own up to. At least if I put out there, I laughed, I was entertained. So the rest is the rest.
All right, cool, man, cool. It was really nice chopping it up with you because we haven't actually spoken like a lot. You guys like this is the first time.
No, it's true. This
is the first time.
Crazy after all these years. Yeah.
We just chat like on.
Yeah, just chat. Yeah.
Crazy. Wow. But yeah.
Nah.
Once again, man. Hopefully we'll be able to do another one after after another project.
Most def. For sure.
That project.
For sure.
So yeah, man. Let me leave you. You go have fun. I'm back here. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Peace, man. Peace.